Hi, third graders. How are you? I know one of your teachers has assigned you to read about a United States president. Maybe you have a book at home or you've gone on to Epic, but you are to pick one of the United States presidents and read a book or two about them and take some notes. And after you take some notes, we expect you to put a paper together with a hook and a couple of paragraphs and a conclusion. Now, you do have a choice. You can do this in Google Slides. You can make a slideshow presentation, or you can do it with Google Docs. And I know some of you can do it on paper and maybe do some illustrations at the bottom, or some of you can import photos. It's up to you, but I'm going to show you what I did. So I read about President Woodrow Wilson, and I took some notes. And know how we can take notes on little Post-its with just a few words that kind of helps jog our memory and then put that into a paper? Well, I did that. And here are some of my notes here. I know that looking at my notes, President Wilson, he was the 28th president. And I kept reading and I took some more notes and I found out that he loved baseball. I didn't actually write he loved baseball. I just have a few key words to kind of jog my memory. I also wrote that he was born in 1856, and then I just wrote the state Georgia down, which tells me he was born in the state of Georgia. Okay. Had dyslexia. I thought this was a very interesting fact because a lot of children, when they're growing up, they have trouble reading and they mix up letters. Well, this president had trouble reading. He had dyslexia. Also, before he was a president, he was a professor. That means he was a teacher in college. And he was a writer. I thought that was interesting. Also, President Wilson, he got married and he had 3 daughters and he became president. See, I didn't spell out president. I just wrote prez because that'll make me remember, oh yeah, prez means president in 1912. And also, when he was president, I put a P here for president, he ended child labor laws. Kids used to have to work in factories. They were like 5, 6 years old, and that was really horrible. Well, this president said, no more. I'm going to end those bad laws. So good job. He was also president during World War I. Very serious time. That must have been difficult. And he supported women's rights. I just wrote WOM for women when I'm just taking notes quickly. And he was president when women got the right to vote. Woohoo! And he passed away in 1912. Now, here's the notes I took, but then I wrote a paper using all of those notes. So let's take a look at what I wrote. So here we go. Hope you can see okay. I said, here's my hook, and I said, do you know which president loved baseball? That was another fun fact I found. And threw a ball in the World Series? That was my hook. I asked a question. It's President Wilson. And I'm going to tell you about our 28th president. I think it's important to mention, is the president you chose, was he our 2nd president, our 40th president? Well, I decided to tell you. Woodrow Wilson was the 28th. And here's how I chunked my next information. Thomas Woodrow Wilson was born in 1856. That's important. And he grew up in Georgia. Very important. Growing up, he had to work very hard in school because he had dyslexia. Remember that from my notes? Woodrow Wilson was a college professor and a writer before he became president. Wilson got married and had 3 daughters. Very interesting. That's how I chunked that information. Here's more. Woodrow Wilson became president in 1912. That's important. During his presidency, Wilson worked hard to end child labor. Thank you, President Wilson. Also, he was our president during World War I. Whew, serious times. Additionally, Wilson supported women's rights. He worked to pass new law which gave women the right to vote. Yay! In 1920. Here's my conclusion. President Wilson passed away in 1924. He was an influential president who believed in fairness and safety for the United States citizens. Thank you, President Wilson. So see, I chunked my information. I had a hook. I had about 3 different chunks of information and a conclusion. You can do this on Google Slides, Google Docs. You can import pictures in. I could have imported pictures of a baseball because he loved baseball, of child labor laws. I can have a picture of a child working, um, women's right to vote, women celebrating. Woo! There's lots of different things you can do. So, as teachers, we can't wait to read your president papers.